Hey there, YouTubers, viewers, subscribers, and non-subscribers. RoseRed17 here, and welcome to my channel. This is the review video of Rave Master, Volume 5, Chapters 31 to 39. We see Deerhound fall to the ground as we did in the last volume, as it turns out to be the work of the assassin from earlier. He was about to go in for the kill, but then Haru managed to take him down so easily after gaining a new ability within his sword, which is speed called Sufferon, which is one of the forms that Haru learned from the knowledge of the fallen warriors. Haru wants to learn about the other forms, but according to Deerhound, he already knows it. He told Haru that the other ones will emerge when they are most needed, and that the Rave is more than just a weapon. Haru must collect all the Rave stones and learn the true meaning of the Rave. Deerhound's duty has ended. As Haru and the others were about to leave, the bear asks Ellie who she is, but Ellie can't give him an answer because she doesn't know herself. He asked her that because of two reasons. One, how can she read the language of the ancient Cypheria, which caught his curiosity? And two, she looks identical to a woman that he once knew known as Lady Raisha. At first, he thought she could be a descendant of her, but then he remembers that Raisha didn't have any siblings or children before she died. So to him, it could be just a trick of the mind. But it no longer matters to him because it's time for him to move on. Haru made a promise to him that he will keep fighting until the peace is returned to the world as Deerheart descends into the afterlife. Haru told everyone to stay strong as they are Rave warriors, but then heard the voice of one of his mortal enemies, Shuda. The two of them is having this back and forth conversation about strength and weaknesses. You know the saying that you have to know your own weaknesses to get stronger? But as for the bad guys, he attempts to get rid of the weakness to get stronger. Not to mention, Shuda brought up Haru's father, Gale Glory, who Haru is defending and Shuda is bad-mouthing. And after ending this pointless conversation, Shuda demands Haru to hand over the Rave or else. Haru refuses, which causes Shuda to call upon his mobile fortress, destroying the graveyard, and flew them into the sky. And there seemed to be a fight building up between Haru and Shuda, while Musica is dealing with these guys. The two started to exchange blows at each other, and as for Ellie, she has to deal with this guy. Musica was gonna go help her, but he has his own problems to deal with. Back with Haru and Shuda, the two were lifted even higher into the sky onto an invisible platform. Shuda told Haru about Gale and that the two of them were friends. This leaves Haru in suspension, thinking that his father could be a member of the Demon Cards, questioning himself about him. Shuda took this opportunity to attack, and one blast after another, Haru is getting hammered, then almost fell over the edge. Back with Musica and Ellie dealing with their battles, or at least Musica is fighting his opponent while trying to help Ellie. But then there was an explosion around her body and she passes out as Haru seemed to have sensed it. After Ellie passes out, Musica runs towards her, but then he started to get injured by Metal Eye over here. Even though he is seriously injured, he still checks on Ellie as he tries to wake her up, but she is non-responsive. The two discover that Musica is the leader of the gang that attacked them from before, and willing to take them down as Musica is willing to do the same to them. Back to Haru's fight with Shuda, he starts to recklessly swing his sword at him after threatening to harm his friends. But after a few blows, Haru falls to the ground as Shuda felt disappointed. While lying on the ground, Haru starts to have a flashback about his sister and his home back at Garage Island, as he heard the conversation between his sister and the flower guy. She believes in him and that he's a lot like his father. This gave Haru the confidence to get back up on his feet and ready to take the fight more seriously, as he remembered the promise he made to his sister. Haru continues his fight with Shuda, although he is getting shredded by him, he's not giving up. Meanwhile, Musica are dealing with these guys down below, with Ellie still unconscious. He managed to find a way to defeat them both by using his ability to control Silver. Ellie managed to wake up and is wondering where Haru is, and Musica said that he's still up there dealing with Shuda. Ellie wishes him good luck with a smile on her face, and speaking of Haru, he managed to figure out the weakness to Shuda's Shadow Stone. He can't can't make people explode, but he made explosions around the people. And so since Haru is so close to him, if Shuda makes an explosion, he will die as well. But little did Haru know that Shuda is willing to blow himself up just to take down his opponent, and that is exactly what he did. Although the two still survived, Haru sees him as a crazy person now. That explosion was also a demonstration about that Shadow Stone, and that it doesn't actually kill them. So beat up, Haru won't use explosion on Shuda as it won't stop him. So Haru finds another solution, and waits for the perfect time to strike with Salperon. But then, Haru falls to the ground as Shuda stabs him in the arm with his sword, and a surprising twist about Shuda's fight with Gale a long time ago. Turns out that Shuda never wanted to find the Rave Stones, but wanted to fight a member of Gale's family and defeat them. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Musica finds Plue and knows his self-destruction button was activated due to the shockwaves of the explosion. While Musica is going to try and cancel it, he asks Ellie to call his men and help him with the deactivation as he only has 5 minutes. Back with Haru, as Shuda was about to kill him, he managed to defend himself and get his final strike, leaving Shuda at the end of the cliff. He loses his footing and was about to fall, but then Haru catches him and is willing to pull him up. But then Shuda noticed the strength that Haru possesses as he admits his defeat, cuts off his arm, and falls to his death. Back on the ship, Musica is trying to deactivate the self-destruction machine, but he's having trouble cracking all the codes. So Griff asks if he could give it a try, but it turns out he's not really good at machines as he is just pushing buttons. And then Ellie asks if she could give it a try, but then Blue was getting their attention and points upwards to see Haru falling above them as Musica catches him. They tried waking him up, but he seemed to be out cold as Ellie starts patching him up, while Musica is back over to the computers and notice that there is no cancellation code and that somebody keeps changing them and that it was all a trap set by this guy here as he is the one who keeps changing the codes, taking the role from the outside. Musica felt like giving up, but then Haru wakes up and told him not to and remembers back to a short time before Shuda fell to his death. He told him that the world needs a man like him and took the right path and be the man like his father, and thus Shuda falls telling Haru to live and not give up. With those encouraging words, they all find a way out of there before the explosion. They manage to find a ship they can use to escape, but there's too much weight in the plane as it goes straight down and can't pull up. But luckily Musica's men managed to save them in the nick of time. They were relieved and Haru thought about what Shuda said about being friends with his father and that he's actually a nice guy. The next page shows a headquarters in the middle of a snowy mountain. There we are introduced to a woman named Rina and a man named Jacken, as the two are members of an organization known as the Arashion 6. And yes, that name is in this manga as well. The two of them are walking down the hallway until they run into another member who is known as the Elemental Master, Seaheart, who also turned out to be the same man that Ellie encountered in her past, or should I say during the time of her awakening. I guess you could put it like that. Anyways, the three are on their way to meet their master known as King, discussing Shuda's failure in receiving the Rave and falling in battle to the Rave Master. He has also been observing Haru, knowing full well that he is the new Rave Master, commanding one of the three to destroy him. Seaheart suggests Rina to do it, but she refuses because she doesn't want to deal with him. Seaheart refuses since he has something else to do and that he is looking for someone. And as for Jacken, he's just standing there in silence. After a little argument between Rina and Seaheart, King's patience starts to run low and commands Seaheart to take care of the Rave Master. Seaheart doesn't really have much of a choice but to obey King and tells him that he will crush the Rave Master, while in his own head, he will crush King. After the meeting, Rina wants to learn about someone that Seaheart is after, and it's a woman with the codename 3173, whom he is willing to kill. Several days later, later, in one of the largest cities, Haru and the gang decide to take a break. We see Haru and Plu looking out the window as Haru starts to feel a little homesick, but Plu managed to cheer him up. Then came along Ellie, who showed him a casino membership card and decided to take him out for dinner. But she ends up losing it, and we see the card with Ellie's name upside down spelling 3173. So Ellie is the woman that Seaheart wants to kill. And what does that number stand for? Curiosity is really killing the cat here. Now on to the next chapter, we of course get a beach scene, which I shouldn't be surprised by now because it's pretty common in anime manga. Anyways, Ellie and Plu are having fun in the water. As the two guys are chilling on the beach, Haru heard about a museum. Musica has also heard about the museum, and he said it's called the Cyphernia Museum, which holds all kinds of records and artifacts from the war. Ellie overheard their conversation and wants to check it out, so that's what they did. They went to the museum, and Musica was surprised how crowded it was since the last time he was there, it was a ghost town. But according to this guy, there was a rumor spreading around about the second Rave Master, which got a lot of people's attention. Haru seems a little freaked out by this, but then the guy said it's just a rumor and that it could be true or not. Meanwhile, they decide to take a look around and they see a picture of Shiba in his younger years. They also show a picture of Plu, or at least that is what the artist who painted that picture thinks what he looks like. Someone sneaks behind Haru after noticing his sword on his back and mistake it as a replica of the 10 swords, and also mistook Haru for a fanboy, which is understandably believable because people actually don't believe that he's the real deal unless they see him in action. Meanwhile, Seaheart and Rina are on top of the roof as they discuss the woman that Seaheart wants to kill. Rina asked him what her name was, but apparently he doesn't know because she goes by the number 3173, and that is what he's been calling her. He also told her that she is dangerous and he must stop her at all times. And right before Seaheart tells her his reason, it goes back to Haru and the others looking at other artifacts in the museum. But then suddenly Ellie said that she had a slight headache and wanted to leave out to get some fresh air. But then her headache started to get worse and worse the more she was in that place. And then suddenly she ends up in a room with a big portrait of herself. It seems we're getting closer to the mystery now. Ellie soon discovered that the woman in the painting is named Raisha Valentine, who was a dancer in Cypheria. The platform said that she is to be a being that was sent by the gods with a strong magical power that only she could possess, and sadly died at the age of 15. This little information gave Ellie a flashback of her past life as she sees herself visiting Raisha's grave, which is very mysterious if you haven't read the entire manga and discovered the truth. This would have many people guessing about Ellie and Raisha's connection. I remember when I first read this, I thought she'd be Raisha's long lost twin or something, or a descendant of her but was in hiding. There is a lot to unpack here and discovering the mystery, which is the reason why I kept reading the manga. But that will have to wait as we continue on with Seaheart telling Rina that the woman 3173 has the ultimate power known as Aetherion, which was the power that disappeared after Raisha's death and shouldn't exist anymore according to Seaheart. He will stop at nothing to destroy her, including disobeying his orders from King of killing the Rave Master. Rina is willing to kill those who disobey King, and before these two get into a fight, Seaheart sensed the presence of 3173, aka Ellie, and tend to go after her. Meanwhile, Haru and Musica are talking to a fortune teller and suddenly told Haru that Ellie is going to be killed right in front of him. Haru takes it as a joke, but the woman kept saying that she's going to die. They both ignore the warnings from the fortune tellers as the two boys walk away, and then we see Ellie crying her eyes out with Seaheart right behind her, leaving us with a cliffhanger. Well then everyone, thank you so much for watching, and if you are new here, you can subscribe to this channel, and you can also hit that notification button for more updates on my newest videos. And don't forget, you can check me out on Twitter, TikTok, and Discord, and I'll see you all in the next video. RoseRed17 out.